Hi, let's take a look at an update for you on ISAs. Going to give you a few minutes now, probably about 10 minutes or so, on ISAs, what they are and what they do, etc., just to get you up to speed with the latest tax year. Now, I've called this the famous five. Now, I don't know about yourself, but we're talking about here at ISAs, of course, individual savings accounts, but I'm calling this the famous five. Now, the famous five is because there's five ISAs now, which is why I've called it the famous five. And ISAs, of course, the famous five is a book by Enid Blyton, a series of books actually, about people like George and Julian, and they have adventures. It's all pre-social media and all that palaver. And they go off on islands and they have a dog called Jimmy, I think, and they have a great time called the Famous Five. Very 1950s, early 1960s. And they go off and have picnics and they find baddies and all sorts of things. But anyway, that's why I've called it the Famous Five. So let's take a look at different types of ISA then. There are five, as I mentioned to you. So let's get those in black for you. The first type of ISA for you is known as the cash ISA, which has been going around since TESAs were abolished many, many years ago. Then you have what's known as the stocks and shares. Let's put that one down here for you. The stocks and shares ISA. There you go, shares ISA. Then we've got the innovative finance ISA. Innovative, there you go, finance ISA. That's a bit of a word there for you, isn't it? Then we've got the GISA. Let's put the GISA down here for you. We'll sneak that one in for you. And then over here, we've got the lifetime ISA, or what's known as the LISA, because these have all got their lovely little acronyms, haven't we? And there are your five, your famous five. Let's talk about these and get some of the detail out for you as well. First of all, ages. How or what age can you get into these things? Well, you've got the cash ISA, which is 16 plus. You've got the junior ISA, which is less than 18. So you can have one for your little grandchild that's just been born if you want to on the junior ISA. Less than 18 is when you open the account on their behalf, of course. When they're 16, it then goes into their name effectively. The child then controls it, and they can then withdraw the money at age 18 and transfer it to a cash ISA or stocks and shares ISA. But it's essentially for juniors, really. That's the junior ISA. Stocks and shares ISAs are 18 plus, of course. You're looking there at contracts as well, which of course is the same for these guys as well. And the LISA is the same as well. That's 18 plus, but they have a maximum of age 40 with the LISA, less than 40. So that's contributing to the LISA. And we'll come on to that in a bit more detail for you. So there's the age to start with for you. Different colour pen for you. What about tax breaks then? The whole point about the individual savings account is you get some tax advantages, otherwise it's pointless doing it really, isn't it? And these things, of course, are brilliant. So on the cash ISA, there's no tax on the interest. Tax on the interest, let's just sneak that one in for you, because that gives you interest, of course. That's also, you get your £1,000 relief against interest on cash deposits anyway, but this is completely exempt from that one. By the way, you don't have to do any notification to HMRC of any of these things. These are completely exempt as well. On stocks and shares, of course, there's no tax on dividends, because stocks and shares give you dividends. The innovative finance ISA, these have no tax as well. These are slightly different because these are, we'll talk about these in a bit more detail. These are products which allow you to invest in peer-to-peer lending. We'll come on to that in a minute for you as well. Looking at tax breaks here. No capital gains tax on these things as well. Capital gains tax on owning stocks and shares. Obviously no capital gains tax there as well. Same with the junior ISA. Junior ISA can invest in both cash and stocks and shares, so they have the same tax breaks as well. And no CGT if there's any involved in that one as well. Now the LISA, it also gives you the same tax breaks, of course it does, but the LISA gives you an extra government bonus of extra money. So I'm kind of keeping this in the tax break as well, which I'll talk about in a bit more detail in a second or two, which is great. So that's your tax break. So all in all, pretty much tax free. Not as good as pensions, because pensions of course give you tax relief as well, but the LISA gives you a government bonus of extra money on top of the tax breaks as well. Contributions come next, so let's get a different colour pen. So let's go for a red pen for this one, shall we? Contributions. Now, the big figure, of course, is £20,000 now. So it's 20k split amongst them all. There you go, 20k as well, 20k on that one. That one's different, come on to that in a second, and the GISA is different as well. So 20k is split amongst all of them along the one as well. The LISA is £4,000 per annum. By the way, this 20k is per annum as well, of course. Put that in there so you know where I'm coming from. The LISA, the most you can put into that is 4,000, because the whole point of that one is you're saving money towards a house purchase or your retirement. That's where that one comes from as well. These are in the tax year, of course, so April to April. The GISA, the junior ISA, just happens to be, I don't know why they've gone for this figure, 9,000 is the most you can put into that one. But I guess little Johnny grandchild doesn't need so much money saved up, probably the England. You can withdraw and then top up again. The cash ISA is the best one here, of course. You can take money out of the cash ISA and then add it back in again if you wish to, which is great. The stocks and shares, it's difficult to take money out regularly because it's not designed to do that. You know, we're talking here about stocks and shares as opposed to cash. So you can do that pretty easily as well. You can inherit an ISA as well, which is good news all around. So if you were to die and you give your ISA to your spouse, they can inherit it from you and they would then receive the amount of sorry about that, a little bit of a noise going on in the background there. So they would actually inherit your ISA limit for that period of time. So if you've died and you pass on your ISA to your spouse, they would inherit that limit for you. So that's something to think about as well. Let's look at investments next then. So let's pick up on blue again here. Let's take a look at investments for you. Now the cash ISA is available from banks, building societies, national savings do one as well, credit unions do one as well. The stocks and shares ISA is from unit trusts, OICs, basic stocks and shares if you want to as well. You can also have share save schemes that you've saved with your employer, and those allow you then to transfer into a stocks and share ISA. Individual shares as well you can put into that one, which is pretty good, isn't it? LISAs over here, the LISAs, these are cash or stocks and shares, so you choose where you want to invest your money, which gives you things. GISAs are the same, so that's cash or stocks and shares as well on that one as well. Now the innovative finance ISA is slightly different because we're talking here about peer-to-peer lending or peer-to-peer investing, which we talked about before, that we have videos on that topic. Here you have, rather than a bank, you have a website platform and you have customers. And there's two types of customers they have. They have customers who lend them money effectively. Then they have customers who borrow money from the peer-to-peer platform. So it's very much internet-led. And of course you can lend the peer-to-peer platform money and you earn interest from that one. And that's of course where the innovative finance ISA comes into its own. So that's something to think about. You can also do crowdfunding as well, based around the peer-to-peer model, but crowdfunding debentures, which is very similar things really. But you're lending your money to a peer-to-peer lender who will lend your money to people who want to borrow it. It's quite risky. In fact, you might have heard some stories recently about a few going out of business, so be careful of those. It might be a great tax break, but the actual investment itself is not very robust. So that's investments. Withdrawals come next, so let's get a green pen for this one. Let's talk about withdrawals. Now you can withdraw your money anytime from a cash ISA, and you can withdraw your money from a stocks and shares ISA, so that's no big deal. And of course you can withdraw from these. The GISA is different. These ones you have to wait until you're 16 for the kiddywink to take control, and then you can take your money out at age 18 for the GISA and then transfer it across if you want to. So you can withdraw your money, no big deal at all whatsoever. The big exception to the rule are LISAs, and withdrawals on that one are a little bit more complicated. So what we'll do now is take you through the topic of LISAs now to give you a bit more of an update, because that's the ones you tend to get a lot of questions on in the exam. Now the lifetime ISA pretty much replaced the old Help to Buy ISA, which was phased out in 2019. You might still have one, and that's fine, my kids have. But the LISA now is the new kid on the block, if you like. Now the whole point behind the LISA was that the government wanted people to save money, because the government always wants people to save money. So they gave the incentive of a pension and or house purchase, because people will save money for a house purchase because it's closer, isn't it? Pensions for many people are so far away that they forget about them. So the whole point about LISA is it allows you to save for both your home and or your pension. And what it does, it rewards you with a bonus, a government bonus. And what it does, it gives you a government bonus of 25% of the money that you contribute to it. That's free money. Well, it's not actually free, but it's kind of free money. So the maximum bonus you can have, as you can appreciate, is £1,000 per year if you put £4,000 in. So that's pretty good, because that's pensions do that anyway in the form of tax relief at the basic rate. So there's a little bit more going on there as well. You can start them at age 18, as we mentioned before, and under 40 you can have one as well. So they are designed for people for retirement and or to buy your first property. So when can you withdraw the money? When can you take your money? Well, you can take your money, let's get a blue pen for this one, in three situations really. You can withdraw, I'll put in there withdraw if you like, when you want to buy your first home. So your first property is a first time buyer property as well, it's not a second time buyer property. You can also withdraw at age 60 plus. So you can stop contributing at 40, but you can take your money at 60 plus because that's for your retirement. So if you haven't bought your home until you rented all your life, then at least you can have your money. You can also have it if you're terminally ill, which is fair play, isn't it, if you think about it quite logically. If you take your money out beyond these conditions, you will pay a penalty and you'll lose your bonus. So that's pretty sensible stuff. Now the home has conditions. Of course it does, and I'll kind of squeeze them in. Where have we got some space for the home conditions? I'll kind of squeeze them in around here for you. First of all, there is a property price of $450 or less, so it's not on every particular property. So it's first time buy land really, isn't it? You have to have been saving for 12 months. Yeah, you have to have been saving for 12 months. So, you've got to be having this product for a little while before you can use it. The money gets paid straight to your lawyer, so you have to have a conveyancer as well. And you do need a mortgage. You do need to be applying for a mortgage, but, most first-time buyers, in my experience, need a mortgage, because that's the whole point, isn't it? If they didn't need a mortgage, then they don't need a LISA, in my book. If mum and dad are paying for the whole property, then they don't need anything, do they? If you've got two people, that counts. You can have two. My stepdaughter Jess and her boyfriend Andy, they're buying a place. They've both got these leases, and they've both got money from them, and they're both putting them into their property. So that's a really good thing. So double it up along the way as well. So for mortgage advisors then, I think our job as mortgage advisors is to educate our population, our customers, on these products, particularly the lifetime ISA. Particularly if you've got an older parents you're dealing with, talk to them about their children, investing into these things at an early age. It's good advice, isn't it? I think at the same time we've also got to be available to educate our clients about the first time buyer discounts on stamp duty. We've got to be able to help them with the help to buy equity loan information. We need to know about how the government help people to buy houses. I think that's a central piece of knowledge. Mortgage advisors don't tend to give advice on stocks and shares and cash ISAs. That's not where we are. But we need to be aware of them. You can have a stocks and shares interest-only mortgage. That might be something your client might think about, but you can't give advice in that area. But we certainly can give advice around government assistance to buy properties as well. So that's the famous five for you. I always remember the famous five. They always had picnics, didn't they? Always sandwiches and things, but they always used to drink ginger beer. Now, I never drunk ginger beer. I don't know what it tastes like. So everybody wants to let me know. Please give me an idea what ginger beer tastes like. They always used to have, because they always had posh 50s accents as well. Oh, George, they'd say, let's go and have a picnic. They all spoke like that. But I think that was because it was the 50s and 60s. And anybody that broadcasted then had posh accents, BBC voices as they called them. So then we have the famous five. I hope that's been useful for you. Bye.